inner critic exists to keep us safe. When our inner critic starts questioning us, starts asking why, starts asking what if, starts asking, are you sure? It's only because it's trying to keep us safe. Welcome to the Highly Inquisitive Podcast, where we embrace the magic of a messy life and adopt the balance is bullshit mindset. I'm your host, Gabs, and I'm here to help you question everything you thought you knew about juggling it all in 10 minutes or less. As a woman who challenged the status quo from toddlerhood and built a successful life on my own terms despite all of the odds against me, I'm here to help you become curious about rewriting the rules to your own thoughts, societal expectations, and life's curveballs so that you can show up every day in a life built for your passions, career, and well-being. Loving your life doesn't mean life gets easier, but it certainly means life gets more enjoyable and you can stop feeling like it's such a freaking mess in the process. Let's go figure some shit out together. We are going to talk about our inner critics today. And we're going to talk about our inner critics because I actually want you to be glad that you have one. And I know this is challenging the status quo, right? Because everything that we hear about our inner critics is how to silence them, how to get rid of them, how to avoid them, how to ignore them. And I actually want us to look at them a little bit different because our inner critic has a job. It has a purpose. And we should lean into that. We should embrace that. Our inner critic exists to keep us safe. And when our inner critic starts questioning us, starts asking why, starts asking what if, starts asking, are you sure? It's only because it's trying to keep us safe. And I recently spoke to a friend of mine, shout out Laura Sinclair's masterclass, and we talked about this inner critic thing as a massive mindset shift because I was coming fresh off of this realization for myself. And it stood out as one of the most powerful things for them. And it's strictly because it was a super powerful thing for me. And that was an exchange of that energy. And so I want to make sure that we talk about it because we all have an inner critic. Point blank. Even the most confident people, which I will argue, I live with two of them. One in their 30s, one who's 4. And they still will have their own moments, right? Where they question themselves or if they're making the right movement, because that's normal. That's healthy. And so I want us to celebrate that. And so the reason this was such a powerful realization for me as I went in to speak to Laura's mastermind group was I had started working with a client. What I will say is every step of the way of working with this client, I had some red flags. And I shoved those red flags to the side because I was in a place where I felt like I needed this money and I needed this contract. And so I kept justifying, it's okay. And my inner critic kept saying, this is directly going against what you're working on. Are you sure this is okay? Yeah, it's fine. No problem. This is really not aligning with the lifestyle you're trying to build. Are you sure this is really what you want? Yeah, it's okay. This is not making you well. This is creating a lot of stress in your life. Are you sure the money is worth it? And that is what I needed to really answer. Because my inner critic has been with me on this journey to know I have been working on a self-awareness journey for the better part of 6 years, but really, really intensely in the last year, let's call it. And the biggest challenge I have needed to get through or work through at this phase of my life when it comes to self-awareness is my relationship with money and my feelings around money. More than anything, my gratitude and scarcity around money. And my inner critic knows that because she's with me. She has walked that entire journey. She is seeing the emotions that I'm not vocalizing. She is feeling the things that I'm writing on the paper. She knows the shit that's trapped inside of my body from the stress and the energy that I have not worked through yet when it comes to my money mindset. So she was doing her job. She was questioning me in the ways that I needed to slow down and question myself. And there are going to be times where when your inner critic questions you, you can confidently answer the question and say, I appreciate you for bringing that up. No, I'm good. Appreciate you. And then there are going to be times where your inner critic brings up something that you need to slow down and pay attention to. And whether you like it or not, you're gonna slow down and pay attention to it. But the part of having the self-awareness is, are you gonna slow down and pay attention to it on your terms? Or are you going to slow down and pay attention to it on the universe's terms? Because what I'm going to tell you about this client is that I broke up with them in the ICU family hospital waiting room while my daughter was in her 9th ICU hospital visit in less than 2 years. Because I am still so hard-headed when it comes to my money mindset. And I am still diligently working through that it took that level of awareness from the universe before I could actually stand up and listen to what my inner critic was trying to tell me. And you don't have to wait for it to get that bad. And then there's also the flip side of it, where we follow what our inner critic says so much that we become frozen, that we do nothing, that we get paralyzed by the what ifs and the are you sure questions. And that's the other coin of this self-awareness, that you have to know, what are your dreams? What are your desires? What are you working towards in this phase of your life that you want your life to look like, that you want your career to be on the trajectory of, that you want to feel in your mind, body, and soul, to be able to check your inner critic back? It's a two-way street. Just like your friend may not always be happy for every decision you're making. They may not believe in everything you're doing. And a good friend will bring that up to you and say, are you sure? Have you thought about all of the potentials here? And if you have, and you're willing to take that risk, you're willing to still make that decision, awesome. I'm still here. I'll be on the journey with you. Your inner critic's doing the same thing. It's on the journey with you. And it keeps learning from every experience you have. Which things really send you in a spiral, which ones don't, and which ones really set you up for the life that you enjoy, that make you your best self. So today, as you go out into the world, I want you to take your inner critic with you. Be proud that she's on this journey with you. And don't be afraid to have a back and forth conversation with her. She is your friend. She's trying to keep you safe. But no matter what decision you make, right, wrong, or indifferent, she's going to be there to learn on the journey with you and support you as you go. Thank you for joining me and connecting with me on this episode of Highly Inquisitive. Who else do you know that needs to make this mindset shift? Will you do them a favor and send this to them? Remember, you don't have to do it all perfectly, just authentically and with a healthy dose of curiosity. Until then, my friends, I'll see you next time.